Day 136. What got me thinking about the topic that I want to speak on today is I was thinking, wow, 136 days into this. And when I look back at previous videos, I've absolutely tried my best to create variation, not only in the scriptures that I talk about, but in the topics. And then the more that I looked at it, I'm like, man, I'm really repeating some very similar themes. I try to make them a little bit different and a little bit more interesting as I go. But I took a step back and I truly thought, wow, I'm really repeating similar, if not close to the same things, if not daily, like at least weekly. I'm covering the same topic that I did 8 days ago, or I'm covering the same topic that I did 12 days ago. And the more that I meditated on that, I'm like, because my initial reaction was like, ooh, I need to create some variation, or I got to get creative. And then I stopped and thought, no, that's exactly what I need to be doing. In life, it is extremely important, if we know whose we are and we know where we're going, we know why we're here, we're a person of conviction, if we're all of those things, then what you have to do is take the good that's in you and just repeat doing things that you are doing for God and doing things that you're passionate about on this earth, just doing those good things day after day after day after day. I know what people say is, oh, you're going to get burnt out, or you got to have a release of some sort, and maybe there's situations where that's those kind of things are true. But the most successful people and the most impactful people in my life have been people that day after day after day after day are consistent. They show up, and even if it's not making mountains of progress, they're just inching forward 1 foot in front of the other. People that I look up to in the gym, people that I look up to in the business world, people that I look up to in terms of mentors in the church, are just people that are consistent, that are just fighting the good fight. They know what they want to do. They have a clear vision. They hear God's purpose in their life, and they just keep doing good things every single day. And a quote that I found that's similar to this, that I came across today, is it just said simply, peace is the absence of confusion. Like, if you know what you want to do and you know you're doing it for the right reasons, and you have a clear heart and a clear conscience and a clear mind about those things, you're going to be passionate about running that race hard because you want to maximize all the gifts that God's given you. Peace is the absence of confusion. I was thinking about the 10,000 hour rule of mastery that you hear about. It takes 10,000 hours to become truly a master at something. And I know that's not scientifically true per se, but that's kind of the meter of someone that's put in like their life's work of 10,000 hours towards something is quite a bit of time to have mastered and really spent time becoming an expert in said thing. And this guy that I was listening to at the gym, he's probably 40 years old, and he said, I only work out 90 minutes a day, and I hardly ever miss a day. But the thing is that's quite a bit of time, whatever. But he's like, 90 minutes. If you think about the 24 hours you have in your day, it's just a small bit of that. And he said, I'm just consistent every single day, and I've been doing it for about 20 years. And he said, the thing is, if you do the math, 90 minutes a day, how long would it take to get to that 10,000 hours of the entire body of work, the mastery? I did the math. It's 18 years, and he's achieved that. And he said there's so many people that he knows that just would have a flame and be excited about things that they're passionate about, whether that's the gym or their business idea or whatever. And then that flame would kind of fan out, and then a few years would go by and they'd try to start something else or try to do something else, and they just haven't been able to be consistent. And he's like, I'm not tooting my own horn, but he's just said, I've done the 90 minutes a day for 20 years, and I've become that 10,000 hour person. And he said so many other people have maybe invested in doing things, either not doing anything passionately, and then they're just they haven't hit that 10,000 hours in anything, or people will be really passionate about things that really aren't beneficial to them. He said some of my buddies have hit their 10,000 hours in playing the World of Warcraft or some video game. I'm not really familiar with it, but it's like, hey, I don't know what benefits there are to that, but he said some of his buddies will complain to him and be like, man, I wish I looked like you, or I wish I was that strong. And he'd be like, there's no secret. I've just been doing it for 10,000 hours. Again, it goes back to peace is the absence of confusion. If you know what you want and you know it's rooted in God's will for your life, work hard. Don't be lazy. Pursue it with passion. Again, do those same productive things. Even if it doesn't feel like you're making a ton of progress, just inch by inch, one foot in front of the other, every single day. Simplify it. I've had a video on hurry sickness in the past. We do too many things that don't matter sometimes. That's what hurry sickness is we are just rushing around and trying to accomplish 50 things. It's like, be simple. What are your top 5 things that you love in life that are your priority? And it better be God at the top. And you might hear things that I often talk about that might relate for your life, but maybe it's your family, maybe it's your temple, your body, maybe it's your hobbies and your friends. Do those things passionately. Like, prioritize those things and keep and limit other distractions. And if you do that for 18 years straight, 90 minutes a day, you're going to hit your 10,000 hours. Lastly, as an example of 10,000 hours that I was thinking about, is like this example for whatever reason came to my head, but I was thinking about typing on my laptop and how there's all these different keys, and for whatever reason, like, we've done this so often now because I grew up with typing class, and now for work I spend about 5 hours at least per day just typing emails when I'm not in meetings. And I can type with my hands behind my back, eyes closed, it feels like hundreds of words per minute. And then I did the math. It's like, let's just say I typed 5 hours per day. You would hit that 10 hours in 5.5 years. Like, it doesn't take that long. And I've been at the company I'm at for over 10 years now. It's just, and you don't think about it as like that's being a skill or something we've mastered, but think about how easy it is to type. And if I say, oh, where's the P on the keyboard, you're going to know exactly where it's at. Where's the L? You're going to know where it's at. It's a skill that you've mastered just because you spent so much time doing it. So what if we did that with our spiritual lives, with taking care of our body, with being a leader, all of those good things daily? Pay those dues daily and see what the benefits are after you put in a lot of time. So 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33 simply says, for God is not a God of disorder, but of peace, as in all the meetings of God's holy people. Again, I'll say it again, for God is not a God of disorder, but of peace, as in all the meetings of God's holy people. Again, that's just always stuck with me, is God is not disorganized. He does not create chaos. We simply know that we have a God that sent his son to die for us. We have eternity in him. And when you can simplify that and truly prioritize that above all else, you prioritize that spiritual realm over the physical realm, your life should actually be pretty simple thereafter. It should really help you limit the scope of being chaotic and disorderly and getting into a million things that don't matter and worrying about a million things that don't matter. So remember that as you go on in this season of life and for the rest of your life, that if you follow God and you know whose you are, and that's going to help you know who you are, it's going to give you peace. It's going to help you make those daily positive inputs to lead to a lot of beautiful long-term outputs. Day 136.